finish off the entirety of the trial. Not sure yet though, but oh, damn, I'll give it a shot. Didn't end exactly the best time yesterday, but well, day before yesterday, but that couldn't really be helped. Dude, I can't believe it, Adrian. No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your Akama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Jean Corridor. But why? I thought she was buds with Jean. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. I'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude. Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impax's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. Sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Jean Corridor, the victim of this murder. That's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corridor. Or to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who is it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet.
Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please.
The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Jean Corridor's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Mattengard.
I see. Now then.
Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request.
Yes, sure. What is it?
I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. I would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently.
No way. I've no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland.
If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corridor. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Jean. But this was a private matter between Jean and myself.
So it was a Rye and bait matter. Or was that bait and Rye? Reminds me of fishing.
But I didn't kill him.
No one is accusing you of that.
I think there's someone who would beg to differ.
I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews.
Very well, then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder had taken place. Discovered the murder that had taken place. Blech. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Jean's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
You poured yourself a glass of juice?
Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. Scene of a crime, bleh. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. That is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honour.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offence is the instant this trial is over. Understand? What was Mr. On Guard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini-performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. On Guard did say he was taking a nap. And I guess you could say it could have taken... It could not have... And I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you? Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Ungart's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. I had trouble reading it. Why did you do that? As a friendly gesture. Jean was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon. What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I don't have any such intentions in mind at that time. Didn't. Can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not.
I see.
This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course.
And then, what did you do next, witness?
Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself.
But you didn't drink any of it, did you?
Huh?
There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it.
I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it.
Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Jean Corrida, you were in great shock. That's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct?
And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at that time.
Your mind was a complete blank.
I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind. It's no big deal.
What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I.
I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards?
It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
It looks like yet another fact has come to light over here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over, where it fell onto the guitar case.
What kind of flower vase was it?
It was a glass vase, and it was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take Sean's pulse, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. And that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase.
That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself.
That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality.
Doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now.
I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to
keep on the offensive and not let up.
The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence.
To find something. Just have to, for Maya's sake.
Guitar case.
You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct?
Yes.
And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case?
Is there some problem with what I said?
It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside.
That's very true.
Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case.
And what is that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor.
And what is wrong with that?
The guitar case was open when the vase fell. The glass shard should be inside, not outside the case.
What is your point, Wright?
The case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over. Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else.
Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright white guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all.
May very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
Seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case?
The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you.
Can't believe I'm doing this either.
All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honour. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
Looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling, but now that it's almost comforting.
Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination.
Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man.
During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see... Are you sure you are the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over.
Well, Miss Andrews?
Yes, it was me. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes. Well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case.
As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed.
Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought, maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention.
Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. Going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. Guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record waiting to be found. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim.
What is it, Miss Andrews?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time?
Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time?
It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Huh. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case?
Mortar! Mortar! Mortar!
Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here.
But it's just an empty case.
I wonder if it really was empty though.
But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio.
Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar.
You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided...
No, Your Honor.
Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder.
If you are so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claims, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black...
So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, Wright? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove.
Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder?
Such a far away out of the way thing, but I don't miss what it is.
Well, this is a photograph.
Oops. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor.
In this picture?
Doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume.
What? Mr. White, explain yourself. White, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that?
That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews?
I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea?
Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
You mean this photo? Order! Order! Looks like we have wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Madam Guard's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case?
Mr. Angard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one.
What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, There were 2 nickel samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel.
Yes, that is what I am saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spear to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Crater, was the jamming ninja. Why would he secretly bring the nickel samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
Therein lies the sticking point.
What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue?
Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai spare costumes?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the nickel samurai spare costume to the hotel was...
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference.
I heard about this as well. For once you're not making something up, right?
But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
How can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Jean Corrida himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the nickel samurai.
He was going to dress up as the nickel samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
It's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference.
The nickel samurai was going to confess something. And by confessed, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself.
Which means that Jean Corrida, posing as the nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engard.
Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Miss Andrews?
I can see why you are pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Jean.
Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Jean had bet everything on the jamming ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway.
He was going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Jean had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
What? And do you know what this secret of Mr. Engard's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Jean knew. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I see.
I've probably been coming off it quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all.
Protect Mr. Ungard. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Jean no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
That's a mistake. Oh, this does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
It's like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. It just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Wouldn't you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? So would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Jean chose that event in that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt and Guard.
And you knew this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Ungard himself didn't know anything about that press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Ungard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Corrido with his press conference.
And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungard, yet you still helped out.
The person on trial right now is Mr. Ungard, right? What the witness was thinking helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill.
Why do I keep doing this to myself? But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, As to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. Can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
You're just glaring straight at me. It's glaring at you, smart guy.
You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. Fingerprints on the knife could very well be clever camouflage.
Then what about the button?
The button?
It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the jamming ninja's costume.
You're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in pleats of Matt's Akama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony.
Can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat.
Goodness me, I can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
And how do you know that? I should have read that first.
When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly. Also, I heard.
I've heard that before too. What would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail?
Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you are not.
I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time.
Who was to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it?
This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Engard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Cordia planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Engard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant.
This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosophy.
There.
This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosophical power hour. And please, stop slandering the witness.
As expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid.
Really, because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy.
Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now. But you'll need strong decisive evidence to make her talk.
Got it, Chief. I'll pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. This one. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf.
Strangulation?
The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when...
after the knife was stabbed into the victim.
Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body.
Water, water! What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change?
Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve?
What purpose?
You now know this button was torn off during the fight. But you now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Engard. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. Engard was set up. By the real killer, of course.
And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer. The person who planned to frame Mr. Engard is... Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Corrida's killer. What?
Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then, what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engard, naturally. The knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's hammer? The karma. This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Engard's hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews.
No, I...
But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But a glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there is this photo. Photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Engard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not?
Please, stop.
Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? Got her this time.
Miss Andrews?
I refuse to testify.
What was that?
There's the law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What?
Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Engard's room...
Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? All right.
That's it. That's when Francesca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. There's still one thing you haven't done.
Something I haven't done?
What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless.
What?
Everything you've proven is circumstantial.
Circumstantial?
Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbour a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, it will be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence.
No, she's taking that defiant attitude again.
Mia, what should we do?
Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. We don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial.
What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he?
That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true that Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination, however. If the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice.
Yes, and...
I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not staring at a glass of juice.
So, my actions were unusual. I've already...
Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect.
Testify?
Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness.
I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
That glass of juice. I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Jean, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left.
I know.
Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
There wasn't anyone else in the room, right?
Of course not.
Then who did you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and a reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you?
In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So, it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida?
I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness?
Slumped over?
Yes. He was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? What did cross your mind?
Thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
Oh, I see. So you didn't think he was dead at all?
You thought he fainted?
I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he'd gotten into a fight with someone.
And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice.
Yes. He always has a hard time waking up. So Jean always has a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. And after that, what happened next?
How did you come to realize that he was in fact dead?
I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward.
And knocked the flower vase over. So that's what happened.
Yes. This is what it all comes down to. This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now is our best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case.
Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? So, you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him?
No, not at all.
Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body?
What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that he was a dead man.
Well, you see...
I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is...
Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer.
No.
It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Mattangard, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear it. He's the one who killed John.
But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself.
That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Mattangard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? We found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix?
Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Mattangard.
Your Honour, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
The absolute real truth? What are you...
Witness, do you understand yet? Don't you understand yet?
Huh?
I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Mattangard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party.
That's a lie. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty.
What is she talking about?
Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared.
It's Francesca von Karma.
Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself.
And right now, Miss Andrews is...
Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Mattangard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging onto them.
Then what should we do?
This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this.
Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority.
It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Jean. Please, someone, help me.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honour?
This court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime.
Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? No one else it could be except the woman crying over there. Wait.
Come now, What will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. When she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Mr. White, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Angard would get an acquittal, but in his place you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me.
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Redworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong.
What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? Because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
That's the second part in the suicide report. The attempted suicide report.
What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews.
The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop. I beg you. If people find out. People find out.
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me.
Edgeworth, you'd be so cold.
However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me.
I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Sean's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. That's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume.
Stab the body? With the knife? But why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. Certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time.
Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim Jean Cordier in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt and Guard for the murder. And this is her crime.
What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
You could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But that scarf is a part of the Jamming Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because he was going to expose Matt's weakness. Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to shock Jean and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So, the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button.
First thing that came to mind was to plant the knife.
That was so you could get the knife, correct?
The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought that if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife and returned to the scene of the crime.
So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife?
Gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Sean's dead body, I suddenly realised something. If I used the button, somehow I could make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ingard's Akama?
Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they?
An inconvenience?
There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway.
I wanted to bet my spikes it was Lotta.
There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth.
It's Miss Oldback for you.
They had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again.
You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you?
Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Jean's guitar case the day before the award ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct?
Yes. Jean wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's biggest secret there.
And what is this secret?
I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave John's room in the nickel samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So, after that you went back to Mr. Ungard's room and planted the button.
Into Matt's Hakama, yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word. What does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ungard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francesca, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honour. The defence still...
Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honour. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Today's trial. It's over. I didn't win an acquittal.
Witness, would you mind if I asked you something?
Edgeworth? What is it?
Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it?
Oh, this... Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I don't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day.
The room? That day?
Yes. I found this card when I discovered John's body. It was lying there, right next to him.
You found that card next to the victim's body?
I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to John's murder, right?
Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry!
Edgeworth?
Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
I didn't mean to. What is all this about?
Never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. Card. What in the world is it? What does it mean? Took an hour and a half just for that tiny... Oh my god. I'm gonna run out of time, aren't I?
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
There, pals.
I can't take it anymore.
Look, it'll be alright. Everything may still work out. The condition was that we had to get a not guilty verdict. And so far, the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya. He won't because Mr. Ngard hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet. Cheer up. We don't have time to stand around crying. We have to get going.
You're right. Mystic Maya is in much more pain than I am.
Yes, that's right. So,
Hey, you guys! Glad I caught you, pal!
Mr. Scruffy Detective.
oh boy, looks like Detective Gumshoe has been dubbed Mr. Scruffy Detective in Pal's book now.
Just plain old Mr. Dick Gumshoe now, and I come to talk to you, pal.
Kind of busy right now. So, what are you going to do from now on?
Well, what do you mean, pal?
You've been fired, right? So, do you have a new job lined up yet?
Oh, that? What am I supposed to do now, pal? I don't have anything coming in at all until my next payday.
What are you talking about? You don't have another payday.
I guess that means I'm just gonna have to work here at your place, pal.
Say what?
You'll be searching for things that will prove Mr. Ngard's innocence all day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna help you, pal. I've got lots of experience in investigating and watching over people's places. I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all.
Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's let Mr. Scruffy Detective take care of things.
Okay. By the way, what's your best dish?
Instant noodles, pal.
Why am I surrounded by people who can only eat cheap, unhealthy foods?
That was the first time I've ever seen Mr. Edgeworth act like that. Never thought he'd say something like that. He didn't care if Miss Andrews killed herself.
He said that? That's horrible.
But because of him doing that, we got the truth finally.
Truth. Sandra's last testimony. Wonder if that was the truth. I'll give you that there was nothing strange in her testimony itself. But I still think there is something fundamentally wrong with the whole thing.
You mean about that thing, pal?
Why would she want to... No, I mean, almost need to frame Mr. Ngard. You won't figure that out from anything she said all day.
Then you're saying that testimony was a lie?
Not a lie, per se. Just feels like there's more here than meets the eye. Well, that's what Edgeworth would like us to believe.
That's a dirty trick. Even that woman prosecutor was better than that.
Jessica von Karma. Speaking of Miss von Karma, do you have any more information on her condition? Wasn't she shot this morning?
Miss von Karma was shot today, on the way to the trial by a pistol, pal.
But she's going to be fine, right? I mean, Edgeworth said she was in stable condition, but...
Well, she was shot in the shoulder, so she's okay and still hanging in there. She'll be done taking the bullet out, so she's probably resting at the hospital.
Which one?
What? You going to visit her, pal?
No. Well, I was kind of thinking about it.
Hey, you're actually good at art, right?
The mouse by accident.
She looked like she was being tortured to death not being able to go to the trial today. so maybe it'll be good for her if you went and let her whip you for a bit, pal.
Let's go let her whip us, Mr. Nick.
I'm definitely not going. Let's see. The name of the hospital. Oh yeah, the eye clinic.
Name sends a chill down my spine. Guess I can't just stop by and say hi. Never thought I'd ever come back to this place.
Yes. Are you here to visit a patient?
Hi.
Wait a second, you're... Yes, I'm Director Hootie.
Why are you still here?
Yes, what is it? Can I help you? You can tell me. Yes.
Director Hootie.
Director Hootie. It's worth. Yes, I'm Director Hootie. Oh, you're the man from this morning. Yes. What is it? Director Francesca. How's Francesca von Karma? You don't need to worry. Yes, she's in good hands. Because you see, I'm personally taking care of her. Yes. Yes. And that thing, that surgery, it went well. You have my gratitude.
Like Edgeworth doesn't know about this director and his secret.
She looks so pitiful, absolutely terrified. Yes. But I understand. Yes. Her opponent was a gun after all. And when I snuck up on her real secret, like, she would scream really loud. Yes. I see. But she's really cute too. When I do that, she'd whip me with a whip. Why did I cry like a baby? Yes, but I think I could get used to it.
Go back to your room.
You're so mean. So mean, my frisky friska. But that's good too. Okay. Yes, it's time for my IV drops. Yes.
And what are those tulips doing in your hands, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
I shouldn't have come here.
I was shot in front of the courthouse, in my right shoulder. But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. I even had full intentions of running the trial this morning. But that would have been too much for you.
No need to act tough in front of us, you know.
Regardless, I was dragged here by that man over there. He was so unyielding. One has to wonder if he was simply interested in stealing my case.
It was the only logical course of action, even the bullet was still lodged in your shoulder. By taking over the case, I found myself having to clean up after you and that irresponsible deal you made. I think I know what deal he's referring to. This one, Karma. You made a deal with Miss Andrews yesterday, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean.
In order to make sure you got your guilty verdict on Mr. Engard, you told Miss Andrews to not testify in court today.
I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have proof that I made such a deal?
You're denying it?
It looks like you were lucky, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If I had been in court today, this trial would already be over.
Or while hiding Miss Andrews' own crime.
That isn't my problem, whether she had tampered with the evidence or not. I have only one objective, to find Engard guilty of murder. The end justifies the means, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The end justifies the means. Miss Von Karma. Adrian Andrews believed you when you said, if you don't tell the truth of what really happened, then the guard will be found guilty. And what does that have to do with me? Because of that, she is now in danger of being found guilty herself. All because she believed in your words until the very end. That still has nothing to do with me. She's just a weak person after all, that's all. But you had to know she was. Yeah. I think visiting hours here are about over. So, if you'll excuse me. What's wrong? Why did she suddenly cut you off? Probably because she thinks I had the advantage in the argument. Edgeworth. What happened today at trial, Edgeworth? That was not like you at all. I mean, I knew you knew about Miss Andrews' condition. You could have made her testify as many times as you wanted, but to go that far...
Oh, but she wouldn't testify about that until I said something. Listen, Wright. The courtroom is a garden of judgment. I'm putting myself on the line when I stand in there. That's why I made the witness do the same. It's only natural.
By the way, Edgeworth, you were really angry in court today. That's rare for you.
Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry! Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
That card. What in the world is it?
You mean this? Listen, Wright. This is top secret information. You absolutely cannot leak this. The Special Investigations Team has existed for a number of years, but you knew of it.
I understand.
Their task is to find the owner of this card, a man called Shelley the Killer. And just as his name states, he is a killer, an assassin, the best at that.
An assassin? So who is this Shelley the Killer?
The Killer is the name of a long-standing line of assassins.
Long-standing?
The name first appeared about 100 years ago, I hear. Shelley is the professional name of the third heir of the Killer name.
So, because his professional name is Shelley, he leaves cards with a shell on them?
He has a habit of making sure to leave a card by the body of his victims.
Why would he do something like that?
I think it is part of his duty to his clients.
His duty?
If he leaves a card, then his clients can be assured it was he who killed the victim. It also serves as insurance against any charges being pushed onto his clients.
I see.
The Killer values the trust between his clients and himself above all else. It seems that this is one honourable assassin with a moral code, moral conscience.
Guess that even honourable assassins can exist. So you think this assassin... You think he's the one who did the killing in this case?
It would appear that way. The discovery of the card basically confirms it, wouldn't you agree?
Shelley the Killer, huh?
I noticed something at the trial today. You were behaving in a very strange manner. Is something the matter?
Guess I should just tell him. Maya, she's been kidnapped.
Kidnapped? What does the kidnapper want?
An acquittal.
I see. I have no idea. I will prepare a rescue team as soon as possible. and resolve this by tomorrow.
Really? Did you hear that, Mr. Nick? Mr. Edgeworth is going to...
Stop trying to console me, Edgeworth. I don't need your pity.
Mr. Nick?
There's no way you can find her. We don't even have a single lead to go on. There's only one way to save her. We have to get an acquittal somehow. The only way. Right, listen. You need to know something. Jean Corrida was killed by Shelley the Killer. And the client who ordered the job is Madame Guard, your own client. Please stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. I see. Well, if you want to continue your investigation, you'll need this.
What is it?
The hotel right now is restricted to police personnel only, as we are looking for any clues that might lead us to Shelley the Killer. But if you take this with you to the hotel, I'm sure they will let you enter. In any case, I must attend to the preparations for Maya's rescue team. We'll meet again if anything should happen. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Mr. Nick, do you think Mr. Engard hired an assassin?
No way. I mean, he doesn't have a psych lock.
Yeah, I guess not.
Maya. Please, all I ask is that you make it home safe and sound.
I guess even kidnappers can be a little clumsy. Clumsy enough to drop a card like this for me. And even though he said he was an assassin, I bet he's just making that up, like how Nick does with everything in court. Anyway, let's try out the card trick with this card I just found. Sounds like I got the door open. Okay, time to go take a look around. What is this place? Got a feeling I'm not in the hotel anymore. Those videos over there. Well, I'll worry about that later. For now I should be looking for clues. That way I can show them to Sis and maybe get out of here. Wow, I've never seen a TV this big before. Now where's the power button? It's busted. I would so die a Happy Samurai fan if I ever got to see the Nickel Samurai on a TV like this. Can't believe I just made a joke about dying, all things considered. What is this thing? An antenna, I guess? And this is a VCR? There sure are a lot of electronic gadgets here. But what's an antenna doing here? Oh hey, it's a computer! I've never really used one before. I have no idea where the power switch on this thing is. Right, here's my plan to use this to somehow get out of here. There's a framed picture sitting on this coffee table. It's a picture of a woman. She's kind of pretty. Hey, looks like something's written here. Let's see. I think it says, "With love, Celeste." Bet this could be a clue. That's weird. What's a figurine doing on a sofa in a place like this? I think it's a bear. Oh, how cute. It's got a lot of cuts and slits on it. I wonder if it's some kind of puzzle or something. dark in here that I can barely see, but these kind of feel like videotapes. All of them. Just what kind of room is this? Locked, of course. It doesn't look like I can use the card to open this door. There's a little hole at the bottom of the door. If only I was a little skinnier, then maybe I'd be able to crawl through here. There.
Oh, this simply will not do. I cannot have you wandering around at will. It seems that your Mr. Wright is truly concerned about you.
He is?
For now, I would suggest you remain cooperative. If you cannot, there are ways in which I can help you.
Ways? You mean?
Dead men tell no tales, is how the saying goes. Correct?
Dead?
I'm almost certain I told you on our first meeting. I am an assassin.
No way. You're lying. I mean, an assassin?
People are not always who they appear to be.
Nick! Mr. Nick?
Oh yes, pals. Got caught up in my thoughts about my situation.
Mr. Edgeworth has left, you know.
Guess for now I have no choice but to believe in Mr. Engard. I think I should listen to his story one more time. Alright, let's get going too.
Okay.
Sorry, but visiting hours are over for today.
Huh?
Ugh, I have too many questions I need to ask. I'm sorry, but I'm Phoenix Wright, a lawyer for one of the... You're Mr. Wright, you say? Oh yeah, there's a message here for you. A message? It's from Madame Guard. Here you are.
What did he write? Is it something really important?
Don't know. Well, let's see what it has to say. To Mr. Lawyer Dude, I've got something really important to tell you. Why do I feel uneasy all of a sudden? Oh, Mr. Wright. So actually, I've a favour to ask of you. I have this cat named Shoe. I didn't put out a lot of food when I left the house, so he's probably pretty hungry. You think you could drop by my house and feed Shoe for me, dude? My house is just a little ways down from the hotel, alright?
This is terrible. Let's hurry. We have to feed his cat. I'm sure poor Shoe's stomach is growling by now.
Yeah, I guess. Client's request is a request. Guess I should go check up on his cat.
Alright now, Mr. Nick. Let's go look for clues. We have to for Mystic Maya's sake.
You shall not pass. Miss Oldbag.
Don't ever leave my name and turn it into a gasp, you spiky-haired bitty frogger. Because of you, I've been made to look like the bad guy again. Although, I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy, just as he promised. But something more valuable. What you Broussard? It's all your fault. You were waking the wild beast inside of this old bag. Ah! Miss Oldbag. Keep your hands off of me. This helmet is airtight. No airs. No air gets in and no air gets out.
Why do you keep putting it on?
Don't think you can get me to move with silly questions. You're going to have to defeat me if you want to get by.
I'm not hearing this. I don't know. Oh. Back in a minute. Sure is dark.
I'll go turn on the light.
Oh, so this is what a star's house looks like. Must be nice to be rich.
Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's find Shoo the kitty cat. Shoo!
So I guess this is Shoo.
Oh, what a lovely cat. Hello, Shoo.
The cat seems to like pearls. Pardon me. Pardon me. May I help you with something, Mr. Oh, Willows. Actually, I'm Mr. Engard's lawyer. The Masters? Then you must be Mr. Wright. Yes. It's a pleasure to meet your wonderful self. I am the family butler, John Doe. Nice to meet you. You must know all sorts of things about Mr. Engard, right? Honestly, sir, I don't believe my master is capable of such a foul deed as murder. And, anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the master of it or his affairs. How typically butler-like, as it were. Mr. Doe, how long have you served at this residence? Well, sir, I would have to say maybe about 1 year. Anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lonely servant to speak of himself and his affairs. You know, I would have thought Mr. Engard going to have a maid over a butler. It's a very cute cat you got there. Got here. It is my duty to take care of him. The master rather fancies Shoo. And, anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lonely servant to speak of the family cat. I guess I don't need this piece of scrap paper anymore. Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave of you for now. Oh, we should probably get going ourselves. Ah, so young and yet already so accomplished. A master of law. There is also a lot to be proud of in being a butler, in charge of the house and all. Thank you for the compliment, sir. People are not always who they appear to be. Now, if you'll excuse me. Well, there's the door, but...
You're a million light years too early to be asking me questions, whippersnapper.
Looks like the only way I'm going to get any investigating done. Let's do something about this kooky alien. Maybe if I show her this letter I got from Edgeworth. Miss Oldbag,
You would look at... What? You want me to look at this worthless piece of... Itchy poo?
Ugh, is that a perfume? Pheromone doing more. I smell. Ugh.
Let's see here. Would you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct his investigation? Ugh, yours truly, Miles Edgeworth.
Yours truly?
That man's good at flattery. Fine, but only because Edgy Poo said so, you understand. I just thought of something I have to do. Remember, no messing around. You do anything bad and I won't let you off the hook. Looks like she has strong feelings for Mr. Edgeworth.
That may be, but you know nothing's gonna come of it.
That's only Mr. Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared.
Ow. Every time we talk about love, I always end up with a handprint on my face somehow. So anyway, let's continue our investigation.
Okay. What now? One little thing before I forget. You can't go into a guard's room today. Why? The police's main investigation team is going to be in there all day, you hear?
If they're the team in charge of the investigating the killer.
So don't go in there. Set one foot in there and you'll face the wrath of Wendy old bag.
Right. I need to run to the toilet quickly, so I'll be back in a second. Hey. Okay. Where was I? Looks like we're the only ones here.
Yet, the hotel seems so busy somehow.
Probably because the police team is scouring for clues about the killer. Hey, city boy. Lotta? You're still here?
Wrecking cars. Investigative photographer eats or starves on her ability to snap on the scoop, yeah?
around this hotel just has that aura of mystery. You know, like something's always about to happen. Do you have a camera? A given. A photographer's gotta have cameras out of the ears like Khan to be a real pro, you know. So I'm hanging around here. Speaking of cameras and feeding them out, do you have mine, you red thief? Ugh, looks like you dropped that thief thing already.
I want to ask you about the night of the murder.
What? You really gonna shell out the bucks for the info I got?
Laura, you were loitering in this hallway the night of the murder, were you not?
Well, kinda, but
Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes.
I didn't exactly hang around here the entire time, you know. Followed a few stars around. Got a few autographs, shook a few hands, had a soda pop with a few of them too.
Looks like she wasn't here the entire time that night.
Security lady also wasn't in this hall the whole time either.
Guess this means there's no one who can tell us who came and went that night. So, the note that was inside your camera case.
Oh, that dirty note I wrote?
Yeah. Can I believe what you've written?
You mean the stuff about God shoving his manager lady onto corrida?
Yeah.
Ah, well, I reckon you best not be believing that.
What?
Look, I sort of wrote that on a whim, you know? Writing whatever came to mind. Whatever came to mind? Yeah, when you get down to it, it's just a lot of random bull daughters. Hey, what's with you? Why are you staring at me like my grandpa used to? Hey, why do you look like you suddenly got older too? What am I just shrinking here? My baby, my $1,600 baby. What's with that red-coated prosecutor anyhow? The guy told me it was evidence and refused to give it back to me.
That's kind of how it is.
Hey, you're that redcoat's friend, aren't ya? So put in a few good words for me and give me back my camera.
You want me to do what?
Listen, nag the guy real good for about 5 hours and I guarantee you'll give it back.
Why don't you do your own dirty work?
Well, I reckon it's time for me to get going. A tabloid photographer without a camera is just a tabloid, huh?
Yeah. I guess so.
Keep yourself together out there, you hear? I'm coming to see you in court tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see you then.
And you too there, little one. You keep up the good work, okay? Okay. Don't be picky about your food now. Okay. Make sure you do all your homework, you hear? Okay. And if you happen to find yourself a camera, make sure you...
Would you please just leave already?
Mr. Nick?
What is that otherworldly, ghastly moaning?
Hey, neighbor ghost.
I don't think it's a ghost. Maybe it's a demon.
Excuse me. What you're calling a demon, brat?
Zoinks! It's the alien!
Who are you calling an alien?
just you, Miss Oldbag. What are you doing here?
What is wrong with you youngins today? I came down here to pay my respects to my poor Jean, and you're disturbing me.
Please, talk to me about the night of the murder. Just one more time.
I talked about it plenty at the trial. I was fooled, tricked, deceived by that fraud of a photographer in a note. She was loitering around here with that imbecilic look on her face. With that imbecilic look on her face? Okay, got it. Now hold on a second there, you little pipsqueak. If you're going to take notes, at least make me sound better than that. Alright.
I've seen everything.
But you know, I was working that night too, doing my job, minding my own business. So it's not like I had time to waste standing around here the whole night.
I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about Mr. Cordia.
He was the most popular star, you know, especially where it counts in my book.
I heard that he was lagging behind in the polls against Mr. Ngar.
Well, that's just a recent thing. Bad luck and all that, you know. But he was going to become an even bigger star than he used to be. Just look at this mountain of presents. It's a show of the mountain of feelings all his fans had for him.
Yeah, the mountain is pretty big. Certainly nothing to shake a stick at.
Mr. Nick?
What is it, pals?
The presents. They're all bears, right?
She's got a point. There isn't a single thing here that isn't a bear. All of Mr. Karida's presents from his fans seem to be bears.
Oh, that's because you can't think of Jean without thinking about bears. Bears? Why bears? You don't know? When my dear Jean was training, he fought barehanded with a bear. He refused to give in and let the bear win, but after the fight they became friends. Wow. What a heartwarming story. Look, it's just like in those young people's dreams. I can see those two tuckered out, down by a river going, you sure can fight. You too, Bub, you too.
Did all that really happen?
It's in his biography, Bub.
What a load of crock.
So, ever since then, fans have been giving him bears as presents.
Yeah, nice. Bears. I'm Uncle Bear, and I said it's barely 8 o'clock. What is that infernal racket?
It's one of the presents going off. Sounds like it's already 8 p.m. Way past your bedtime.
It startled me. Thought I was going to die for a second.
8 p.m. That's the time when the award ceremony ended that night, remember?
I'm sure flies. Hard to believe it's been 2 days since the ceremony. Transceiver. Hello? Hello? This is not a phone. Maya. How is Maya? You haven't heard her, have you? Seems you were not able to fulfill your end of the bargain, Mr. Attorney. I have heard the news. So it would seem my presence did you no good.
Missing Maya! Missing Maya!
One more day, please. All I ask is for one more day. Mate, get a not guilty verdict for sure this time, please. I suppose, if I must. I need that a little more than anything else after all. Please, Please let Maya say something. I want to hear she's alright.
Alright. Then... a little...
What is with this static all of a sudden? Hello? Hello?
It seems... bad. Connect.
Damn it. Did the transceiver just suddenly break?
Excuse me.
What happened? Don't know. All of a sudden it became nothing but static. Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! Why did the transceiver suddenly break like that? Should probably have an electronics expert look at it. The sooner the better.
Hey, welcome back, pal. I thought I'd make you a little something for dinner.
That's nice. Thanks.
Rich man's luxurious full-course meal. Out of a can, that is.
Sorry you went through all the trouble to cook, but I don't have the time to eat.
Looks like you don't have a can opener, pal.
You've got to be kidding. I thought he had already whipped something up.
Oh, I know. There is one way I know how to be helpful. Ask me about anything you want, pal. Go ahead.
Since he's here and offering, I wonder what I should try asking him about.
Transceiver?
Oh, Mr. Nick, you should ask Mr. Scruffy Detective about that thing.
What thing?
Oh yeah, this thing just up and broke all of a sudden.
It broke, pal?
When I was talking to the kidnapper, it just suddenly broke into static. Look, it sounded like this.
Oh, I don't hear any static, pal.
Huh? Maybe it fixed itself? That's strange. Sure, it was making a loud static noise.
Maybe
what?
Maybe it was electromagnetic interference, pal.
Electromagnetic interference? So what is electromagnetic interference?
Something that happens when a radio wave gets mixed up with another signal, pal.
Oh, when you put it that way. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Like, for example, when a cell phone goes off next to a computer screen. Stuff on the screen gets kinda fuzzy and starts acting funny, right?
Computer? It's like when you use the dryer next to the TV and the screen starts looking weird. Oh, yes, the TV does that. Does do that. Oh, so that's what you were talking about. She seems amazingly happy at being able to understand this.
So the room you were in when the interference to the transceiver happened, it's gotta be something that's sending out very strong radio waves, pal. Something like a listening device or something.
Huh.
Hey, speaking of that, where were you when it happened?
We were in Mr. Cordy's room, the scene of the murder.
What? That's it. I'm going to sneak into the precinct and get a bug sweeper. I'll meet you at the crime scene later, alright, pal?
Wait, Gumshoe.
Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah!
You should be going too, Mr. Nick.
Alright, let's go.
Hey, you're finally here, pal.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Do you have the, bug sweeper?
Well, you see, busted trying to sneak in, pal, and suddenly I'm staring at the precinct doors. From the outside, I mean. So yeah, I couldn't get one of the police bug sweepers.
What do you mean you couldn't get one? You need that item.
Hey, calm down, pal. I didn't say I didn't get one, just not the police's.
Oh, so this is a bug sweeper.
It's a little broken.
Mate, this was made when I was in elementary school, pal.
By who?
Me, of course. Oh, seeing this sure brings back memories. Hey, don't look down on it, pal. Sure, it looks a little beat up. But I put my heart and soul into building this puppy here.
Your heart and soul?
It'll work. Trust me, pal. It'll do the job. But
what?
you can't set the sensitivity. So it's going to be fed anything that gives off electromagnetic waves.
Isn't it better that way?
Well, anyway, since I brought it all this way, might as well give it a whirl, right, pal?
I'm getting that sinking feeling again.
Okay, now I'll tell you how to use this baby. There's a listening device or some other sort of hidden bug in this room, pal.
So we're going to find it, right?
Right, now first let's turn the sweeper on. Next, move the sweeper around the room. Move the sweeper around to give the room a real thorough looky-see, pal. The sweeper will let you know how strong of a signal it's picking up, so keep an eye on it, pal. Once you find something that's giving off a lot of radio waves, lock onto it. There's a lot of things here that are going to give off radio waves. So let's take a good look at anything and everything that seems suspicious, okay, pal? Alright, I'm going to go stand outside and keep an eye out. Give me a yell if you find the bug. Got it, pal?
This is just a giant stuffed teddy bear, right? It's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Hey, so did you guys find it yet? The listening device, I mean.
No, not yet. But this bear's eye is.
Let's see. Perfectly normal stuffed bear with some really strong radio waves. Sounds like you found the device to me, pal. Let's dig this big fella's eye out and see what we got.
No, you can't. Such a violent act.
Hmm.
No!
It's a miniature camera, and it looks like there's more. There's a transmitter and a timer.
What minute?
Transmitter, pal.
Oh, is this more of that high-tech stuff? So this tiny thing is a camera?
Yep, it's a pinhole CCD camera, pal. It's a small, high-grade video camera, mostly used in security systems.
So it's a video camera.
Runs on a battery, which comes with it in a set.
There's no videotape in this camera.
This is only the camera part here, pal. The tape recorder with the tape inside, it is somewhere else.
Somewhere else?
The footage is changed into radio waves, and then it's sent to that recorder.
So, it's sort of like a TV broadcast, isn't it?
Hey, you know, you're right.
So what is a transmitter?
It's a device that sends the footage the camera took to a specific destination. It's like a video version of a listening device, pal.
It looks like it's attached to a small clock-like thing.
Oh, that's a timer, pal. You can set it to turn the camera on and record at a certain time with it.
You can set it for a certain time?
Yep, let's see. This looks like it was set to start at 8 PM and go for 1 hour.
8 p.m. It's the time the award ceremony ended.
There's no date set, so it's been recording every night, I guess.
Mr. Detective, how long has this bear been here?
I'm pretty sure it's been here since the night of the murder.
Then maybe...
Maybe this camera caught the murder on tape.
What?
And if you think about the angle the bear is at, it's bound to have had a clear shot of the whole crime, pal.
So, there was a camera in this bear's eye? And it was disguised as a present.
I'm sure it was here on the night of the murder, pal. It's pretty big, so it stands out pretty well in my mind.
Who gave Mr. Carida this present there?
I don't know, pal. But this means that somewhere out there's got a video of what happened here that night.
Isn't there any way we can find out who that person is?
It's impossible, pal. Radio waves can be sent almost anywhere, so there's no real way to find out.
Oh. Is there really no way to find out?
I got it.
But what?
Hey, pal, let me borrow this mini camera for a bit.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go around to the electronics shop and see if I can find out who bought this.
But it's impossible. I mean, it's already 9 p.m.
Leave it to me. Even if I search all night, I'll find your man, pal. Oh yeah, baby. It's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah!
He's gone.
Yeah.
But Mr. Scruffy Detective sure is a nice man. He's pushing himself so hard, all for Mystic Maya's sake.
It's a mystery how you always manage to do things in the most inefficient ways, right? You'll have to excuse me. I heard your conversation just now.
Edgeworth, what are you doing here?
The rescue team is being created and deployed. I can't say I'm optimistic, but we have to move forward one step at a time.
I see. Thanks.
Don't thank me yet. We still have to find her. So, there was a spy camera hidden inside this stuffed animal, huh? You are one lucky man, all right? Do you know this stuffed bear, little girl?
I have no idea.
Of course not. The maker of this bear is a very expensive luxury-based company. It's completely handmade and only a small number of these are exported here. What? The camera and transmitter that scatterbrain detective took with him are dead ends. Things like those can be bought anywhere. However, this bear is different. By tracking how it got into this country, this bear can tell us who the buyer is.
Can you really do that? Mr. Nick, can he really?
Well, I guess so. It's 9 PM. I think I can still make it in time. I'll be taking this for now. I'm sure you have other things you have to do. See you soon, Wright?
Wait,
What?
why are you doing this?
I have no interest in explaining myself to someone who cannot comprehend. But besides that, Wright, until court reconvenes tomorrow, you should concern yourself with this question. Who was the person that murdered John Corridor? The real killer? Do you really still think it was Adrian Andrews? To be honest, I don't know anymore. You still have a little time left. Find the truth, Wright. Everything begins with the truth. John Corrida's real killer. Miss Andrews' past. Kidnapper and self-condition as acquittal for Mr. Ungard. And this card, Shelley the Killer. Maya, the only way I can save you now is to find all the answers to this case tonight. I don't understand what your real intentions are, Edgeworth. But as you said, all I can do for now is find the truth. Do I think I'm going to have enough time to do the rest of the case? Wanted to get it done today, but... No, I'm not going to be able to, am I?
That's a kick in the teeth. Oh well. Just have to finish it tomorrow. Won't I? But, well, actually works out better since I can't stream on Monday anyway. Right. In that case, that will be all for now, and we shall be back tomorrow with the end of the game. Right, yeah, that's it. So for now, bye!